Hi everybody, Jason with Inland Valley Customs. Just wanted to go over the most common rebuild kit from us, our best selling solenoid, armature and brush holder. And here's our donor unit, as you can see. We will go ahead and walk through replacing these components. We're going to use a 5/32 Allen to remove the through bolts. And a number 2 Phillips screwdriver to remove the brush holder screws. Now I like to have the motor standing upright because there are a couple of components that like to fall out if you have it laid down on the bench laterally. Now 13mm, switching from standard to metric, 13mm for the solenoid motor post. We're going to just loosen that a little bit and pull the brush holder off. As you can see, it's sort of horseshoe shaped, so you don't have to take the whole thing off. Staying with metric, we're also going to remove the solenoid screws, which are 5mm. Once those screws are out, you're going to lift off the solenoid. Make sure you pay attention to which way the spacer is sitting. There is a bit of a counter groove here that wants to face this direction. It does not want to go upside down. We're going to take the plunger off. You may have seen in our other video how to do that. We'll do it again really quickly here. Bladed screwdriver, push down there. You're going to get in between the tab and just pry it a little bit, let that go. There's a spring in there, so we don't want that to shoot out, so just be careful. Now we can hold on to your brush holder lead there and wiggle this top off. There it is. Take a pair of needle nose pliers and you can use the brush holder as a backing here. We're going to get on the loop and just pull gently and that clip comes off. Don't forget to put that back on. Brush holder can come off. Armature can come out. Now be careful, you see this little ball here on the end of the armature. Not sure if that's going to come into focus for you. This is stuck on there with a bit of grease. You might not be so lucky, sometimes they just fall off. Please make sure that you retrieve that because that wants to go right back in. I'm going to lift off the field casing for now. There is a small index tab. Let's see if we get into focus here. There's a small little index tab there. That is going to line up in a groove somewhere around here on your motor gear housing. There is a tiny little groove. You only want to put it in this way. If you turn it 180 degrees, it may go on with a bit of force, but that is the incorrect alignment, and you will have the motor running backwards. So make sure that this index lines up towards the top. It's about, let's say, 10 o'clock, 9 or 10 o'clock rotation. Okay. So that little ball wants to go down the center of the bushing, in the dead center there. Drop it all the way down. Don't let it get stuck in the gears, or else you will have some issues there. Now that ball is back in place, we're going to put the field casing back on. We're going to put our armature back in, give it a little bit of a turn until it drops down into the gears. We can put on our brush holder. Easiest way I find, grab 2 of the brushes and spread them back. Put it in on one side and then pull the other 2 brushes and it will sit down nicely. I'm going to bring that brush holder back here. There is a cutout for the brush holder to sit in. We're going to put that clip back on. Get your pair of needle nose again. I like to go right down the center of the armature there and then we can grab the back of it. Just give it a bit of a squeeze. If you have some grease, we're going to put a little bit of grease in the bottom bushing here of the housing, and that is going to set right back on. There's your alignment for your brush holder lead. That's going to set back on there. We're going to now put the brush holder screws in. I find that if you use a pick, a little right angle pick, if you go down one of those holes there, you can lift up on the brush holder just to get it into place and align your screw holes. Number 2 Phillips. Be careful not to over tighten any of the hardware. It is very easy to do. And you'll find that one of these threads in particular can be catastrophic. So, nice and snug. Make sure the lock washer is flat. Now for the sensitive part. These are your long 5/32 Allens. We would like to put a bit of blue Loctite on the threads if available. Just a tiny bit on the end of your threads. The reason for this is because these through bolts do not want to be over tightened, but we do want the Loctite to hold them in place for us. 5/32 Allen. We're going to take that down. Once it reaches the bottom, give it about a quarter turn. That is enough. If you over tighten these threads, it will result in breaking those sensitive threaded tabs. Here's one that we've seen before. Let's see if that comes into focus for you. That is a broken tab. Now the motor is useless and you cannot put the motor into service. The entire back end of your motor will come off while you're riding on the road. We don't want that. Right, let's take our new solenoid. And again, to remove the old plunger from the new solenoid, we're going to use a bladed screwdriver. Pull that out. Make sure the spring is in the center on that little contact tab down in the bottom. If it's off to the side, you're going to have some problems. You would like it to be right in the middle. Take your old plunger, because it is specially cut. It is a different shape and it does need that extra cut in order to do its job properly. So I'm going to put the spring right down the end there, and again it is centered in the bottom of the solenoid. Push down and give that tab a little push to hold it in place. Now if you look down inside your solenoid, there is what's known as a shift lever that is in the center. That is what your solenoid is going to hook around. It has to hook around that in order for it to operate. Once you get that, you're going to push down. You'll feel some tension with the springs. That is what holds the gear back when it is not being used. There we go. Now that both mounting screws are in, we will tighten them the rest of the way. Turn your motor back upright. We're going to put that horseshoe back underneath the lock washer and tighten that motor post nut with a 13mm socket. And that's it. If you don't feel comfortable doing that job, we are quite happy to take care of that for you. We do have a remanufacturing service of your original motor available on eBay and directly on our website at inlandvalleycustoms.com. And if these do break, it's not the end of the world. We do have solutions for you. Please reach out either on eBay Messenger or directly on our website, or you can also call us at 951-821-6230. Thanks again for watching the video, and if you have any questions or comments, let us know. Safe riding.